Hiya, I'm going to show you this makeup look from scratch today. Everything's from the high street, it's all my affordable favourites. And also, Christine, you had asked me for some colours to suit hazel eyes. Now, these colours are actually going to be lovely on lots of different eye colours, but to really make them pop, here are some suggestions for you, so I hope you enjoy. As always, everything I've used is listed in the description of the video, so if you click to make the video full screen, the title will come up along the top, click the arrow next to it and a full list of everything will drop down. Okay, I'm going to start with some moisturiser and I'm going to go in with the facial moisturising lotion from CeraVe. Now, CeraVe as a brand are really quite concerned with ceramides and helping to keep a really healthy skin barrier. They happen to be, readily available, very affordable, but they are genuinely one of the best brands. It's not like, oh, it's really good for the price. It's just genuinely really good, full stop. So if you were looking to pick up a really great skincare routine on the high street, CeraVe would definitely be one of the places I'd tell you to have a look. Also brands like The Ordinary, the Inky List are really brilliant if you know particular ingredients that you're looking to add to your skincare as well. Now, with that facial moisturising lotion, I've kind of avoided anywhere that I know will get very oily, like maybe around here. And I've just gone with a nice wash all over. And then foundation-wise, I'm going to go in with the L'Oreal 24-Hour Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. Now, this one, another thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to pretty much use all of my Peaches brushes. So this is a Peaches PC02. And again, one of the things I would say about the Peaches brushes, they are really affordable and they do really good bundles as well. So you can get like 4 brushes for £15, or they have pre-made bundles that they recommend if you're looking for like a set for the face, a set for the eyes, that kind of a thing. But even not just considering the price, they're just genuinely great brushes. Now, this is a really full coverage foundation. So if you want something that's going to completely cover, redness, pigmentation, acne scarring, whatever it might be, this will absolutely give you a really full coverage. But it looks relatively fresh and lightweight because it's not too full in consistency. Okay, next I'm going to go in with the Peaches Cream Contour. This is the original shade. There are a number of different shades. Now, even though that looks really deep in the pan, because this is such a soft cream, you can really create anything from a nice little light glow right the way up to a really sculpted finish. So think about the pressure that you want to use. The lighter the pressure is, the lighter the colour payoff will be. And think about what kind of brush you go in with. So like I've gone in with a PC15, which is relatively fluffy, which means we're going to get a relatively soft finish from the cream I'm putting on. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with the Peaches blusher in Amaretto. This looks really brown when you first see it. I'll probably use the same brush I used for my foundation actually. Looks really brown when you first see it, but then when you get it on the skin, it's surprisingly dusky. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that quite high up onto the cheeks, almost to kind of cheat where those cheeks actually are. I hope you can still see me, but the sun is kind of coming in and out, so I can't properly see myself. I'm hoping for the best. I'm just taking a little touch of that blusher slightly through the temples, just to pull everything together a little bit more. Okay, now let me quickly whiz through. I'm going to go in with the Skinny Definer Brow Artist L'Oreal pencil. If you want like a really hair-like finish, it's a tiny little brush. Also really good for if you have smaller brows, if you just want to fill in little gaps. But this is a really lovely pencil. Now, I went in the other day with my tweezers and like a magnifying mirror. I mean, how often do we need to hear these things not to do that? But you just do sometimes, don't you? So I'm trying to fill these brows in and kind of pick up the little baby hairs up here to try and, like, God forbid, get a bit of a brow back for myself, because I've obviously just completely cannibalised them. Okay, before I continue, I'm going to just take a tiny bit of the Peaches setting powder through the centre of the face for a number of reasons, really. First of all, it's just going to distract me when I'm trying to get on with my eyes, but also because it's still quite dewy to the touch, if anything drops down, it's going to stick to the dewiness. Whereas if I've gone in with quite a bit of powder there, if there are any little spills now with the rest of my makeup, they're going to be easier to just buff away with a clean brush. Okay, eyes today, I'm going to go for some really kind of plummy pink cranberry colours. Christine, yesterday you had asked me for some suggestions for hazel eyes. Just to say, I absolutely love whenever your name pops up, Christine. You just really make my day every time. I've written down here that you said plums, pink taupes and rose colours are your happy colours, and I thought brilliant, they sound great. They're going to be really lovely for hazel eyes, so if you're watching this and that's your eye colour, these are the kinds of things that are going to make that look brighter. And I remember a while ago as well, Frances, I've got you written in my book. Frances has been on the island pretty much for, gosh, it must be since the beginning of lockdown. Her and her husband have not been able to get home, but they've been keeping busy. And I remember, Frances, you telling me that you love these kind of mahogany colours. So let's go in with it. I need a little mirror. Let me just grab a mirror. Here we go, the return of Miss Piggy. Haven't had this one for a while, have I? Right, I'm going in with the Peaches War Paint eyeliner, which is a kind of mahogany plum colour. Now, even though I referenced the hazel eye colour, that kind of plummy burgundy colour makes so many eye colours pop. It works really well with blue. I'm also going to go in with today, this is a collection bounce back eye colour. Now I am going to use my Peaches pigments as well, but I think the Peaches pigments are loose and I always like to prep. I mean, I can't even get this open, so I don't know who I think I'm going to be showing this to. There we go. I always like to prep with something that isn't loose, so that I've got a bit of a framework, and then you can just layer those loose pigments on top. Now, if my memory serves me, I'm looking at this thinking I've used my finger with that. These bounce back shadows, let me start with a brush and see how I go. This is a Peaches PC35. They're a really buttery texture. It's almost like the ease of a cream, but with the lasting power of a powder. They're a really, really beautiful consistency. This colour is literally the first thing that came up was vegan suitable, but I don't think that's what I was actually getting at. This seems to be called Warm Heart 2. There are some really lovely kind of coppery colours, golds, but it's a really great formula. I have to say, I have said this I think in previous videos, but collection, as in used to be collection 2000, genuinely really, really great high street brand. Some of their brow things that I've got recently are fantastic. I've shown you before. If you haven't seen or you're fairly new, have a little look on my reels. They do these brilliant drops that if you've bought the wrong shade in your foundation, you can mix in a white or a golden colour or a deep colour, and it will customise the shade for you. How many of us have got the wrong shade buying something online during lockdown? Let's be honest, probably loads of us. So they've got really great solutions like that. But anyway, as you can see, I'm just packing this colour on for now. I'm not worrying too much about blending it out or anything, because I'm going to do that in a second. I'm going to take now a PC31, tiny little brush, and pack a bit of this under the eye as well. Let's just absolutely go for it. Okay, I'm going to soften this out using a PC10. And from the way that is blending, I can tell I need to get in there with my finger. So you know what, just let me have a little play here. Look at that now. See, depending on the texture of your shadows and things, sometimes it can actually be just as well to go in with your hands. So it's always worth, one of my favourite things to do is just have a big play with everything just before you take your makeup off, because what's the worst that can happen? By the way, while I'm harping on, I'm going to go in with This is the colours I'm choosing from. I'm going to go in with Gypsy. What's the worst that can happen? You're going to take your makeup off in a minute if anything goes wrong. You've had a little experiment, you've seen what it's going to look like, and then you know for next time what to use or what not to use. Okay. I'm going to take a flat Doll Beauty DB14. I'm actually going to use the pigment that was just in the lid. Really press this onto the brush and then pat it onto the lids. Now I'm picking up a tiny bit of this at a time because I don't want it to drop. There are drops and things that Peaches do that you can mix into the pigments to make them like more of a paste, but that also gives a really dense wash of colour, which is lovely, but it's not quite what I want today. I just want something a bit grungier. So I'm really gently pressing on this loose pigment, and you'll notice as well, I'm not actually rubbing back and forth, I'm just pressing it into place. And I'm going to take a tiny little bit under those eyes as well. Okay, little talking point here. I was thinking about like what is my favourite high street mascara. I think it's pretty much Lash Paradise, really brilliant. I really love this Sky High. This is the one that went viral on TikTok. I love it. I think it gives a really glossy jet black finish. The one thing I will say with it is I find it quite difficult to remove. And I mean, I use like often an oil-based eye makeup remover, and it really does take a little bit longer to remove. Now that in mind, if you're looking for something that will not budge, or you find that things print on you, you know, you have a bit of a struggle to get something that really lasts, that one would be brilliant. But if you also just want the ease of getting your makeup off really quickly in the evening, in which case you're going to be more of a Lash Paradise girl. Okay, last little tip. These are the L'Oreal Glow Mon Amour drops. They're very, very shimmery. Lovely if you want that kind of thing, but what about when you just want like a bit of a glow and not necessarily something as golden as that? What I'm going to do is mix a tiny bit of that foundation into those drops, create something that sits in the middle, and then use that as a highlighter. So as you can see, just taking the edge off, I'm going to press this in to these upper cheeks, probably a little bit on the brow bone as well. Now see how that is obviously like a highlighter finish, but it's not as glittery. That is something I really love at the moment, because I mean, who wants a glittery face? You want a nice radiant, you look well, not necessarily, you know, who's been at the glitter part. Okay, and then to finish everything off, I'm going to go in with the Borderline lip liner from Peaches. And then I'm going to finish with a little bit of gloss in Babe. Just having a little look there. I'm just going to go in. I've got nothing extra on that brush. Just soften that blend ever so slightly. That feels nice now. Well, there we go, all done. And do you know what? Thank you so much, Christine and Inner Penguin, for those suggestions, because that is one of my favourite makeups I've done in a while, and it just goes to show, doesn't it? Like, that was all the high street stuff, and I feel like that looks really healthy. But I hope you enjoyed. As always, please feel free to let me know in the comments section if you want to see a video on something specific, or you've got a question, or you want me to go into a bit of detail for you. But have a lovely day, and I'll chat to you again soon.